It'd be great. Anyway, so um, let's see here. How do I want to describe this? Or what do I want to say? Let's see here. I'm wearing one of my infamous shirts, so that means I've likely been in some sort of meeting. Um, I like to wear these shirts to meetings, to kind of send a message. And while you're going to say, oh, well, that's childish. Yeah, it is. But you know what? I get my point across. And always give a damn and never give a fuck is accurate for what took place today in a meeting. I can't even begin to tell you the disgust I have. Um, it's come to my attention that apparently teachers and administrators are now allowed to diagnose things that don't fall within their wheelhouse, meaning they're able to diagnose things like EBD qualifiers. Um, and when I say that, I mean it. I've got the transcript, I've got the video, I can back all that up because I actually dared them to say it out loud, and they did. And it became very obvious that they started to cherry pick what data they were going to use and or not use. Okay, not legal. I'm doing a verbal dump because if I don't get this out, then I'm going to end up saying things to people. And not everybody deserves to be like on the receiving end of my wrath. But a lot of people in that meeting today, everybody in that meeting today sounds like two people. And that would just be two individuals. And one of them doesn't even work at the school. Um, Everybody in that meeting today, I just have one question in case you come across this. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night knowing that you are complicit in sending kids to prison? How do you sleep at night knowing that you have been the person to send a child to, let's say, alternative school, or let's say GNETs? How do you sleep at night knowing that you've done this? Knowing that you've taken such extreme measures that you've actually gotten CPS. So, like, I've had four parents tell me that they've had visits from CPS because these parents in this cluster dared to say, no, you're not going to talk like that about my child. And you're not going to label my child something he or she, or actually all he, that he's not. So let me just make it personal real quick, okay? Because I did this today. I'm going to make it personal. And let me tie it, and this will explain a lot to it, some people. The reason I'm so fucking mean, and the reason that I advocate and fight the way I fight was on full display today. Because not one person in that meeting was advocating for the best decisions that needed to be made for the child other than myself, the mother, and that was about it. Everybody in that meeting decided to allow the administrators, who, by the way, one wasn't even invited, and no, we haven't received an updated meeting notice to let us know that she was going to be there. So yeah, I, again, I've always said I welcome 16 people to an IEP meeting. The more the merrier, especially if it's all the administrators. Please let me have all of them. I will enjoy the ever living shit out of it. But when I'm looking at you and you're looking at me, and like to the point that I actually had to establish the meeting norms. I had to remind the LEA, the LTSC, whatever you want to call her. I had to remind her. Well, you haven't even established the meeting norms. There's not been any agenda given out. It's just straight to it. So, I mean, you're the one that set the tone by not even establishing those meeting norms, which you're supposed to do. Um, and so it was obvious that this was just going to be nothing more than an absolute shit show and that they were not going to actually rely on data. They were not going to rely on tangible data. They were going to rely on outdated data. And when I say that, I mean that because they kept referring to an evaluation that had taken place in January. Well, that's not the appropriate data to be looking at. And we said that. And furthermore, in the meeting prior to that, they had admitted that, yes, this thing had been ruled out and they recognized that. But also at the same time, when they said that, yes, it had been ruled out in that last meeting, that's also when one of these lovely administrators cut my mic and said, oh, I know where you're going with this. And no, we're here just for behavior. Now, I'm curious because I know for a fact I got into a fight with Matt Jones about this, and the fight was so bad it was finally codified in the state of Georgia. Meaning, if a parent walked in to the district or to the school, had a diagnosis in hand that they had paid for, that would be taken, and there would not be a need for 12 weeks of data collection. So I actually accomplished that and it was adopted. It was codified under OCGA by the Georgia Board of Education. Yet these idiots, yeah, I'm going to call you idiots. These idiots in this meeting decided that they didn't care about the data that, as I let me quote when I say this. It was that testing is just a snapshot in time. Yeah, you're right. Very aware of that. But when that snapshot in time has gone up, down, like I said, 30 points, 15 points, 25 points. And then when you go and you look at the other data, which legally speaking should have, prompted a whole discussion to start an IEP or data collection on the child's academic everything. Yet they don't care, and they fully intend on sending this child out into the world reading at a third grade level. Yeah, that's data. There was a point in there where I was like, I said, okay, if this is going to be what you do, if you're going to diagnose these things, okay, well, if you want to use that as a qualifier, then I need to know why an OT evaluation was never initiated. Well, they got a little defensive. I was like, okay, that's fine. But, they went around and then they finally decided, okay, yeah, well, it does say on the VMI that this is this. Okay, yep, all right. Well, you just established that you fucked up and you said it on record, so thank you. Um, the reason this is again so personal for me, what I saw take place again today was what happened to myself and my son in first grade. I did not consent to a behavior intervention plan. I did not consent to having data collected on my child's behavior. At no time did I say, please, by all means, collect copious amounts of information on my child's behavior and ignore the glaringly obvious dyslexia and dysgraphia that he actually entered the school with. He had a diagnosis for it. He already had an IEP for it. The teacher didn't care. The teacher did whatever the teacher wanted to do. And what that teacher did was traumatize the ever living shit out of my son. That's when my son started to self harm, come home with his lips shredded to pieces, his fingernails shredded and bleeding. And I'm tired of telling this story, but this is why it's personal for me. Because when I know that the behavior that they're collecting all that data on is easily explained, by a diagnosis that has actually been given to the child because, the glaringly obvious academic deficits have been on display this child's entire tenure. But again, like I said, my son went through this. I fought tooth and nail. The things that I got my hands on, the emails that I got my hands on, the amount of like abhorrent shit that was being said about me in these emails between administrators up to the superintendent. Like I read all of it and I was just like, oh, okay. So this is the hill we're dying on. This is kind of awkward. Um, God, I wish I could say that none of this was real, but it's all very, very, very real. And we are where we're at with it. And where we're at is really fucking depressing. If this was done in an attempt to get out of the crosshairs of the Georgia DOE, you failed. But I don't want to focus on just this one. I want to focus on this. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if I never, ever settle with this fucking district. I don't care. I don't want anything from them. I don't want to be placed on another gag order only for them to steamroll it repeatedly. They are incapable of not violating their own agreements, federal lawsuits, settlements, agreements that they signed. I signed, my husband signed. I don't want to sign anything. I'm not willing to sell my fucking soul after I've been pulled back into this. And it's not, I didn't get pulled back in. I've actually wanted to see what the landscape was like. Now that I've seen it, it's just fucking disgusting. It's disgusting. And everybody involved, everybody that's complicit in it, like, again, I'm asking, how the fuck do you sleep at night? Do you feel good? Do you feel good about yourself when you go home at night? Knowing that you've broken a child, knowing that you're sending kids to prison, knowing that you're calling CPS on these children because their parents said, fuck you? The irony I find in this is that there's a lack of executive functioning and a lack of empathy on everybody involved in these meetings. The individuals making the decisions, yeah, your executive functioning fucking sucks. Your ability to comprehend is just absolutely rock bottom. You know, I've had like, I don't even give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You guys have already made your decision. You guys have decided to die on this hill. You guys have decided to wild out and breach everybody's fucking privacy. You decided to give a third party um you know that lovely project management company that's shutting schools down in Atlanta and Decatur, trying to do it in DeKalb. You don't give a fuck that I know that you allowed them to see data that not one parent gave consent for the district to even look at. You don't give a fuck that you're looking at data that is training AI, like minors. That it's as easy as just that. All I have to do is throw them under the goddamn bus and they'll squeal like a fucking pig to prevent themselves from getting caught with a fucking felony. And guess what? Because they're in a contract with a government entity, I am well within my right to file an open record request with the Attorney General's office and get the fucking contract. We codified that under OCGA. It's a son of a bitch, isn't it? So instead of doing this roundabout bullshit that I've been doing, I'm just going to go straight to the fucking source. I mean, God knows I've got everybody else in the district who is protecting them, like their insurance provider, Epic. Yeah, I've got them on record stating that nobody in the district told them anything. Yeah, I'm just going to go to that project management company who has been decimating communities across Metro Atlanta. And I'm going to ask for the contracts. And I'm going to ask who gave you consent to use this data. Because the data that I saw and was handed to me without asking, again, I said over and over, those are heat maps generated out of Clear ID. The entire presentation that you're giving to parents on the SAP committees is Clear ID. Now I'm going to go ask friends and board reps in APS what their data look like. I'm going to go ask the attorney for APS what the data looked like. And you know who you are, ma'am. So you may want to make sure things are on the up and up. And then I'm going to go ask the superintendent for the city schools at Decatur what the data looks like. There seems to be a common theme. Problem is for this project management company is that I know the superintendents and the board reps in these other districts that they're working in. And I can get the data from them. So in the event you don't want to give me the data or the contract that you signed with DeKalb County, that's fine. I'll get it from the other districts that you have fucked up. But I'm going to get back to the other thing. I'm going to get back to what you did today. And then I'm going to touch on this too. Again, I would rather stay where I'm at, meaning I would rather attend IEP meetings or Black and brown boys in that district than take any of your fucking money. There is no amount of money that can get me to sign anything. You're fucking done. The amount. Hi, baby. Oh, man. Hold on. But the amount of Black and brown children in the district who are being shoveled to prison or worse. By worse, I mean by GNETs. Shh, don't even start. No, you've already had sweets. I already know. You've got chocolate all over your face. Wait, and then maybe I'll give you something. No, I'm not being mean, by the way. You guys, she's got copious amounts of chocolate all over her face. She's sick. Avery, look. Anyway, like I said, there's not really a dollar amount that I would take anymore. There's nothing that I'll sign. I don't want it because, again, like I said, we've already established that you can't even act in good faith per the federal lawsuit and settlement that you signed. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna stay here for a little bit. I think I'm just gonna stay here and I'm gonna make you really fucking uncomfortable. And I'm going to make sure that I stay in IEP meetings specifically for Black and brown boys. I don't give a fuck about the white kids. Sorry to all my mamas. I love y'all. I love your babies. But it's easier for me to take care of your babies because trust me, what these parents have to deal with if they are not white. I mean, what the fuck why are you sending CPS to parents' houses? Why are you having parole officers slide into the text messages of children? Yeah. So you're just proving my point. You've proven to me that you're giving the data to outside authorities, just like Brock Wilson said you were doing, because they slid up into a middle schooler's Text messages. TMI again. TMI. Okay. 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 Go. Oh my God, my daughter. Oh my Lord. Hold on. My mini in all her glory. Anyway. Okay. Whatever. But again, I'm sorry. I've got shiny object syndrome here because I do have a 7-year-old. So I'm curious to the SPLC if you come across this. I'm curious, do you feel good knowing that you are preying on black and brown people in DeKalb County, but yet you refuse to do a fucking thing about them? Do you? Do you feel good? Do you feel good? Because I don't think you do. I think you know your behavior is abhorrent and that you are too fucking embarrassed to admit it, so you won't do anything. Because if you actually gave a shit, you would have your foot inserted up their ass. But you only care for one group of people. You only care if it comes from Decoding Dyslexia, Georgia. Once again, I must be the person that says this out loud. All does not mean all, because only one person from Decoding Dyslexia, Georgia, if you take out Sherry, only one person showed up at the Black Literacy Matters conference for the 3rd year. So again, all does not mean all. And the SPLC is in bed with these motherfuckers. The irony. I'm the one that introduced him to these lovely ladies. So, whatever. That's that. Now that I've seen this shit with my own eyes, there's not any. No, I don't want your fucking money. I'll torture you to the end of the fucking earth and back. I don't give a fuck. Not after what I was in today. Not after what I watched. Not happening. You can't do a fucking thing to get rid of me now. And that's a problem because I know exactly which buttons to press. I know who to press. And you all know that. And so I feel a little bit better getting some of this anger out of me, but not really. Not really. I'd like to put my foot on your fucking necks for the way you're behaving. And I'd like to remind you of the fact that you're supposed to have empathy for children. If you want to understand why kids are wilding out, as you like to say, or they're having erratic behavior, well, a good example of why is on full fucking display because of the goddamn teachers and the administrators. What child wants to behave for y'all? If the energy you're showing me in IEP meetings is the energy you're showing these kids, you fucking deserve all of it. I've never said that. I've always been an advocate for teachers. But you folks are evil. This group specifically, you're fucking evil. You're evil. And you deserve all the shit that's about to hit you. I've never said that about teachers ever. I've always advocated for teachers. I've always been the first one to jump in front of them and protect them. But not y'all. Not happening. Not one single person is going to be safe from all the fucking complaints I'm filing with the Georgia PSC. I will have absolutely all of your ability to practice as a teacher, to practice as a school psychologist, to practice as whatever the fuck you think you are. I will have it all taken away. And then you can go bitch and moan and say, why is that white lady being so mean? Well, this white lady has seen far too fucking much over the last 12 years. And I'm tired of being the only person that actually goes in and does anything about it. Because none of these fucking organizations give a shit about these kids. None. Not even the NAACP in DeKalb County. They don't give a fuck. Not that I blame them. Nobody wants to fuck with these people. And I know why now. I mean, I already knew, but like, Jesus fuck. In the past 2 years, just you had 2 years of Devon Horton and your brains were fucking sucked out of your skulls. Fuck all of you. This is no longer the Get Back tour. This is no longer we're done and like, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Y'all done fucked up. I'm not leaving. I will invest all of my fucking energy into torturing the shit out of the district in these meetings. In fact, I will actively go ask parents at these fucking schools, hey, have your kids been screened for dyslexia, or did they say, nah, they're a behavior instead? I don't give a shit. You violated my NDAs, you violated 2020, the other 2021, and then you violated the federal one in 2023. Remember that one, the really bad one, confidentiality? Yeah, you fucked up all three of them. My attorney's smarter than yours. My attorney gave me a loophole to get the fuck out of the agreements. Simply put, if you fuck up, it makes the agreements null and void. I win, you lose. So I hope you're spiraling right now. And I hope you're crashing out. And I'm just going to enjoy the ever living out of this. I needed something to take my anger out on. I think I found it. It's a whole fucking school district, but mainly Tiffany's region. Tiffany, you used to be a fucking teacher in this district. What's wrong with you? Oh, wait, you took part in it. That's what. So did Deirdre. You guys literally sleep. Fuck it. I'll have more fun fucking with y'all and like getting folks fired and having your goddamn like titles ripped away. I'll have more fun doing that than I'll have. I don't need fucking money. I can like I'll have fun fucking your lives up, just like your fucking kids' lives up. I'll have fun fucking your life up, meaning I'll get you removed from the ability to even be in a classroom around a fucking child. That's how mad I am. You can ask some teachers about why they aren't teaching in that district anymore, or why they can't teach in public schools anymore in the state of Georgia. Because, yeah, I've done it. You're not the first ones that have been on the receiving end of this, and you won't be the last ones. But officially, let me go check. Hold on, let me go check how many times I've read my email since I've been live, because, I got to do that. Only once. And it wasn't the attorneys. I wonder if Harold got the fuck you and booted out of the district finally. Did the OCR complaint help? Did having OCR in the emails help? Did demanding the contracts regarding who speaks on behalf of the board for special education helps? Anyway, I'm going to go enjoy my daughter and my family. Like I said, I've seen a lot in this fucking district. I've seen a lot. But I have never seen it at this capacity. I've never seen the pipeline to prison on full display like this in my life. Never at this capacity. And finding out that you like I said, man, finding out that you're calling defects, man, fuck you. Fuck you. If it were white people doing this, that's one thing. It's not white people doing this though. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Why do you scream like Karen, Karen, Karen? Like, why do you scream about racism so fucking often? But the people that are actually sending kids to prison aren't white. They're not. Region 1 isn't out here wilding out, sending kids to prison. Fucking assholes. But I'm done for the night. Yep, I'm done. So, enjoy your night, and enjoy whatever the fuck is coming your way for me. Because officially, like I said, I'm on your neck. I'm not leaving, and you're going to just have to accept that. You brought it on yourself. So, have a good night.